Hey YouTube, this is Ben Gussel. How's it going? I knew I wanted to make a video tonight. Um, I was gonna actually talk about something having to do with a good versus evil, and I had in my mind as I was actually going for a walk earlier tonight. But my phone was charging up. I had in my mind, events having to do with uh, English soccer hooligans that were not professional fighters versus the Russian professional fighters that were fed up with the English soccer hooligans and beat up some people. And now I think we're going to get more police around soccer games. The Europeans just need to drink less alcohol. That goes for both the British and the Russians and others as well. But I didn't want to talk about that. I want to talk about something else. But interestingly enough, these two subjects are connected that I'm about to talk about, and things like violence in Europe. So I just heard from High Impact Vlogs. Again, the YouTube channel I'm talking about here is High Impact Vlogs, as well as watching a video from Representative Brian. Oh gosh, I knew I'd forget his last name, Babin or something, from Texas. Um, these two sources, I just watched some videos from both of them regarding a law that is, as far as I know, already in force, or just became a law called the TAPS Act. TAPS, TAPS Act. So I think it's safe to say, based on a little bit I know about this so far, this is one of the scariest laws I think I have ever heard of in my entire life. Because the Patriot Act, all the terrorist words and things, uh, I laugh about it because I have never had any trouble at the airport so far, and I'm just like, you know, what are the words that you can't say, or the CIA will notice if you're talking about it a lot, and then they'll put you on their list, and you won't know if you're on their list unless you are stopped at the airport, So I just used to be a little bit worried about it, but now I laugh about it because I haven't had any trouble at the airport regarding what I put on I don't know, what I put online. Anyway, but the Patriot Act was the main thing that I am aware of. I mean, there's probably a heck of a lot of other things that have been passed that I have no idea about that have been evil as well. Or certainly things that I didn't approve of. We still have our representatives going for, and, you know, so. Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I don't know. Some people say I'm libertarian. Some people say I'm more like an anarchist. Some people say I'm conservative Republican. Some people say I'm just different. I'm on my own team, but I mean, I don't know. I think politics is weird and confusing and stupid and whatever. At least the national government stuff is really completely bonkers. Local and state stuff is a lot easier for me to figure out. And I still commend people that are in government, the federal government. They're trying to do a good job. They're trying to be good people. They're trying to get things done. That's all fine and good. I just, it's the national government. It's completely nuts. So, TAPS Act. I heard from Representative Babin from Texas about what he said this bill was about. And I heard also from High Impact Fogs. So what you guys are hearing here now is not just an opinion. It's not just a knee-jerk reaction thing. It actually is coming from both sides. It's coming from the guy who started this bill and one of the guys that's extremely opposed to this bill. Okay, so here are my thoughts so far. The TAPS Act apparently has something to do with having a psychological evaluation of every single person, uh, at least if it's an adult, or I don't know if they're going to get to the teenage range, but every single person who's capable of killing, as far as I know. Yeah. But everybody's going to have a psychological profile that the police are going to have access to. And if that psychological profile suggests that somebody's going to be violent in the future, especially going to kill someone, then, because of that profile, the cops can show up to that person's house and take that person in. Now, what is going to happen at that point is a little less clear to me. And I'm probably not getting all this quite right. But I'm pretty sure that I'm getting a lot of this right. It's the best of my ability so far. Well, the one thing I do know is that cops are going to have access to people's psychological profiles. For sure. Anyway, so then they're going to come to someone's house and they're going to say, hey, you need to come in for some questioning. So what exactly that questioning will involve, I don't know. And who is going to be there, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen to someone. I don't know if they're going to be in the, I just don't know. And, so I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm getting a lot of this wrong. I really do. Because this sounds really stinking invasive to me. I certainly want things to be safer, but I'll get to all my issues here in a bit because I have a lot of them. So, yeah. So I there's no telling what should happen at the police station if you take it in. I don't know. I just don't know. You're gonna be in prison for a long time. You're gonna be held there just for a bit. I'm gonna give you a popsicle and let you go home. you know, you're gonna, I wish I could tell you guys. So the details of this bill, because a lot of government bills, are so incredibly complex that it's hard to know everything about them. Really, unless you've read the bill, or you think you have all the knowledge I don't know. A lot of people think they know more than they really do about this stuff. So, with the high impact vodka, it was really upset. And I can definitely see why. And here's my feelings about this so far. So when you go to a psychologist or psychiatrist, I know they're different. I have a hard time separating the two. One of these kinds of folks can prescribe medication, the other doesn't. I believe it's a psychiatrist. I get mixed up. I'd have to look at this again. Anyway, when someone goes in for something like this, it's generally voluntary. I mean, someone needs help with something, or nobody's at least legally forcing them to go see psychologists. But maybe, I don't know, there might be exceptions to that depending on the situation. But the information that someone shares with the psychologist or whatever is confidential. I imagine there's some things that if the psychologist might have to report to the police, but I don't know. I wish I could tell you guys. But if we're talking about just things having to do with human behavior and something based on psychology that they're talking about, whatever is shared with a psychologist is kept confidential. And so if somebody thinks for whatever reason they have some irrational phobia or weird train of thought where if they see someone with makeup on, they think they're a clown, and they have coulrophobia, they fear clowns, and so they run away from them. So is that something that if somebody really is that way, whenever they see someone with makeup on, white makeup, that they go crazy and they run away? Is it something that that person wants everybody to know about? Is it something that they want the cops to know about? Now, this is not a violent thing. Uh, but what if someone with color phobia, instead of running away, what if they said, hey, I don't like clowns. I'm going to hurt them instead of run away. And so they do something really bad to someone who had makeup on. Even if they weren't a clown. Or they looked like, vaguely like one, maybe. Or whatever. So, somebody did something illegal by seriously injuring or killing somebody who was a clown. The way our law enforcement works is you have to commit something that's a crime before you get in trouble, right? So people die. That's the way it works. People get hurt. It's, you know, you want to prevent that, but at the same time, there are issues with that sort of thing. Okay, so you see what I'm getting at here. It's. Let's take another scenario, just for a sec. What if? What if somebody thought I was Satan? So they decide to get their gun and blow my head off because or I'm the Antichrist or something like that, or they thought they're commanded by God to kill me. Okay, then I'm dead. That's bad. Hopefully they go to jail. But what would that psychological profile be? I don't know. Somebody who thinks they're an avenging angel or something. A lot of folks, we're doing psychology and other things. Sometimes something spiritual, perhaps, but this is all kind of less tangible kinds of things. We're dealing with this kind of stuff. There's all kinds of, it's incalculable. There's an infinite number of different trains of thought that sometimes end up in the arena of either immoral or illegal or both. Of course, most weird out of just less commonly accepted or thought of trains of thought. If it's just a weirder train of thought, most of these weird trains of thought are at least not illegal, or often they're not immoral. Let's just pick something that is not violent, or at least another weird one that seems harmless enough. Okay, I'll pick for maybe something different before the really weird one. So if some extreme vegan feels so strongly that meat eaters need to die, you have the vegan that kills a bunch of people that are eating meat one day. Would that mean that that person had to have some kind of psychological disorder to kill? Or how would anybody measure that psychologically if the only reason that person killed all the people was because they're eating meat? Or, chicken or whatever. Fish. Is this a psychological issue, or is this just a belief? Is this a religious belief, or a there's the religious side of veganism that does seem like it would go that direction if it's strong enough. And people kill and do things that are illegal for all kinds of reasons other than psychological. But let's talk about something weird, just different. So somebody decides that that clothes are unholy, or they're not something we should have. So they decide to go naked everywhere. Now, obviously, nudity is against the law, unless for some exceptions. So that's against the law, right? It's not violent. It's just against the law. So what if somebody only did that in their own home, nude in their own home, and when they left, they still had clothes on reluctantly? Oh, I have to have clothes. Darn it. Okay. Is it illegal? Well, if nobody can see them, if it's just in their own home, it's not illegal, right? It's voyeurism, I guess, sometimes, depending on how you look at this whole thing. You know, nudity, voyeurism is, comes into play when people can see somebody displaying their private parts and stuff for all to see. So, okay. You tell me, there's all kinds of weird thoughts that someone could have. Just weird stuff. And some of it's actually psychological. Obviously, there are things like schizophrenia where somebody thinks that something sees somebody or something and acts oddly, Let's say somebody is afraid that somebody's going to kill them and they're hallucinating. That person's not there. But they act in such a way that they're so scared that they hit somebody so hard in running away from somebody that person that they hit accidentally dies. Well, they obviously didn't mean to kill that person. So can cops, can they come to that person's house as, hallucinates a lot? Can they come to their house and take them in for questioning? Simply because they did drugs or they hallucinate or whatever. We think you're going to do this in the future because you have a psychological profile that suggests that. Come on, guys. Come on. If you haven't done anything wrong, at least illegal in this case, if you haven't done anything illegal, cops should not be asking you to go to the station. But you can be framed for a crime. That happens sometimes, but simply because you're psychologically predisposed to do something. That's pre-crime. That was in a movie called Minority Report. And that is unconstitutional. It's unconstitutional. We have a law that's been passed now that is unconstitutional. What business do police have with regard to the things that people tell their psychologists that's supposed to be held confidentially? Some of it's embarrassing. Some of it's absolutely no one's business. No one's business. Except for the person and the psychologist. I mean, I don't know. Some things fall into the religious arena, perhaps. I get that. But cops deal with crime, not pre-crime, because the person hasn't done something. Even in the movie Minority Report, it's theorized, that person actually will do something in the future. It's weird how that works, but you see, it's like these. Yeah, I remember that. It's like these kids or these teens, that can actually see things that will happen in the future. And so there's a little ball that rolls down with the person's name on it, saying that person's going to do something in the future that's illegal. So that's how that all works, as far as I remember about the movie. But hey, we're not even, I mean, in real life, we have to go off something different. So hey, let's just make sure everybody has psychological profiles. You know, and if they aren't up to snuff, if they suggest that someone's gonna be violent, and hey, they just can't. They just can't. You know, we got to take them in. And we thought Nazism was bad and evil. It is. It was very much so. If you didn't have lighter hair, if you didn't look Nordic, you're in trouble. And if you were gay, or all this other stuff, Nope. Now, if you have a psychological condition that you sometimes can't even do anything about or help, yep, you're going to jail. Nope. If you're considered to be, dangerous to society, you're just going to be taken out of the equation. So there's no more. It's gonna. It's like, what are cops gonna be doing? They're just gonna be going around arresting people based on their brains. Hey, I think a lot of folks are gonna end up in jail because of this. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like we're gonna have anybody who's just got a few screws loose. So some old guy that forgets to wear his. I don't know. See somebody mowing the lawn, and like, we could be a little bit more modest looking, but you just could have some just odd ducks that are just thrown in jail because they're odd ducks. Because they're considered to have a higher likelihood of committing acts of violence, right? Boy, oh man, and we think that things are going to be safer. Everybody's going to be safer because of this. Well, there's a problem with that. The problem has to do with the fact that you can have some very sane, rational people that are very capable of killing. You don't have to have a psychological condition to kill. You can just hate something or someone or some ideology, or you could actually be, in my opinion, tempted by demons to do it. And there's just there's a lot of things we don't understand that would lead to this. Psychologists can only, they can only see so much in someone. We don't know jack about the brain still. We know more. We know more and more all the time, but we still don't know. The whole religious thing, the whole spiritual thing. We can't see heaven and hell. We can't see God and Satan. What the heck, Like, we're gonna now just eliminate people. Just, take them out of society because they are considered to be more likely to be violent. What about ADHD kids that are just hyperactive? They're more likely to be violent because they're hyperactive. Maybe as adults or whatever, because they can't control their body as well in regards to being like jerking around their elbows and stuff. Could very well elbow someone accidentally pretty hard, especially if they're that way when they're older. And autistic people are very sensitive and can get very frustrated, and because they have a hard time with a lot of that stuff, and so they might be considered to be violent that way. And then you have people that are just very hurt and sensitive, and so might unleash all that angst in a violent manner. It might happen. You have people that are just, again, for whatever reason, they're ridiculed and teased to the point of they can't take it anymore. And then you have people that can hallucinate, or they have severe mood swings, and that could lead to violence, perhaps, and a little bit crazy, right? Maybe not permanently crazy, but you know, I don't know. And then you have all the psychological kind of terms that you might associate more with Dr. Stone's scale of evil, the narcissistic, pathological liar, that sort of thing. These terms like pathological and narcissist and psychopathic versus psychotic and you know, yeah. And so you have that all that kind of train of thought, and maybe that the maybe Representative Brian, his last name I can't remember. Maybe he was thinking about Dr. Stone's scale of evil. This kind of thing. Like everybody, criminals have profiles and things. So maybe that's where he was coming from. The truly dangerous, personalities. Well, the thing is that you're not dangerous until you do something dangerous. You can still not be dangerous. If someone actually lacks empathy because something's wrong with their brain, and so they do all these bad things because they have no remorse, that whole train of thought, I don't fully understand it, but you give people that open door of, hey, you haven't done anything illegal, you're just fine. But once you change, if you say, hey, just because of the way you are, you're going to jail, there's no turning back. I mean, I wanted to control everybody. I wanted to make sure everybody was going to be nice and stuff. Who hasn't had that desire? I definitely felt that way when I was younger. I know exactly. Representative Brian, I can't remember his last name. We'll just say Representative Brian from Texas. I think he just wants safety. I think he just wants. I totally understand that. We all understand that. He was thinking about guns and stuff. I wanted everybody to be nice and not hurt anybody. Sure. When I was younger. But there's some things that you cannot do. You cannot just say, because of the way you are not gonna be free. You're not gonna be like other people. You're gonna be locked up or something. It doesn't matter what you have. You no longer have the option of doing something wrong or illegal before being in jail. It's just going to be based on how you just are mentally, It sounds to me, in a way, very much worse than Nazi Germany, even. Because in Nazi Germany, you could have mental issues, right? Psychological issues. And everything would still be okay if you were blonde, of course. But hey, apparently it's not okay to go crazy anymore. The crazies have to not be there. The only things that are allowable now are if you have a psychological profile that is deemed non-violent, but you're not going to be a problem. That's the only thing that's okay. But what exactly the details are, we don't know yet. We don't know who's going to, qualify, who's going to be considered dangerous to society yet, based on whatever. We just don't know these things. And my bigger assertion is how in the devil can either cops or psychologists know who is fit for society in regards to psychological evaluations? Really, I mean, like you can kind of go there, but not completely. It's just wrong, folks. It's just wrong. This TAPS Act. Now, if you maybe want to kind of um, make it illegal for some people to have firearms, then in that regard, I think that's completely justified. So if because of someone's psychological profile, um, they're considered too mentally imbalanced to own a gun, I would agree with that. That's okay. That's okay. Um, but what I don't agree with, of course, is going to jail simply for being a little nutty. So I hope I get clarification here. I hope that I certainly hope that I never have to go to jail because of my own brain, how I am hardwired. Nor do I want that to happen to anybody, just because of, let's say that you uh, Down syndrome, and life stinks. You work at a gas station or fast food place, and your parents died, and you're fending for yourself. So are Down syndrome folks now going to be thrown in jail because they get really upset and they want to hurt someone? So they could just find a weapon. They don't have to own it. Just find one. They get mad enough, go shoot someone who they hate. It could happen, but because it could happen, is that person going to go to jail before that ever happens? You see my point. I hope I keep making the same. I want to make sure that I'm very clear here with this stuff. So I do not support this bill, as far as I understand it, even after a representative from Texas explained why we need this bill. We obviously don't want to see more school shootings. But you cannot arrest someone for something they haven't done. Right? There are instances where people are framed for things. Right? So, we try our best, cops try our best. But when you arrest someone for something that they might do, that's where the Constitution